The whole point really is to get students, kind of engaged in history and the course material in a more kind of relaxed environment outside of class.
So today we're going to speak to history instructors John Brundrett and Brady Hutchison about how they implement video games into their course content. So John, tell me about this idea and how you've implemented it in your classroom and kind of why you thought it was important to do that.
Yeah, sure. So first off, I'm obviously an educator, but I'm also a gamer, an avid gamer. I've always loved playing video games, but growing up I played a lot of historical video games. And when I went to grad school, my master's degree is in public history. And so public history, right, deals with things like historical movies, historical video games, all of that. And so I started realizing in the classroom, I can use video games to show students around Iroquois village or something like that if I'm teaching 1301. But then I was like, wait a minute, wouldn't it be cool if we could build a community where students and professors are sitting down together, or at least virtually sitting down together and playing a video game, right? Obviously historically based video game ideally, and let's just see where that was going to go. And I had these conversations with Brady here, Professor Hutchison, and we kind of just ran with it.
And I'm an old school guy, and I've played all generations of video games going back to, Pong. So, yeah. So kind of so what was the game that kind of you thought, man, this is something that's really going to relate to the students and can get the content across to them?
This is on audio. This is going to sound not the best, but it can be made PG. There's a game series called Assassin's Creed. Now, obviously, from the name,
right? Oh,
violence.
Yeah.
Well, of course, unfortunately, a lot of history. There is significant amounts of it.
And there's a lot of historical little facets that they go through in that series.
Well, exactly. And so, actually, my example that I was mentioning earlier about like walking through a village, a Iroquois village, for example, go to Assassin's Creed 3. It's based in the American Revolution. You get to see that. I've used that in my classrooms. But the entire Assassin's Creed franchise visits historical locations in different time periods consistently. That's the entire purpose of it. In fact, even the more modern adaptations, so Assassin's Creed Odyssey, AC Odyssey is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. It takes you to ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War, and you actually get to like walk around the Acropolis of Athens, and even architectural historians have referenced that game and said how good it is. And so I realized there was a lot of, there was certainly some legs there as far as like the historical value for students. I'm actually looking forward to maybe introducing that into classrooms even further. But again, the idea of like having students also become the drivers of like learning about a historical narrative. And the thing is if you can bring a controller into a classroom, students can enjoy it. But what about outside of the classroom, right? And so that's where this idea of the Discord comes from largely, is how can we take, right, all of this fun of video games and history from the classroom, and how do we like take it out of the classroom? And that's where that Discord really allowed us to actually do that.
Because the Discord, I know it's a chat server, correct? So do you utilize Twitch at all or no?
No. So Discord is, you kind of look at it like Teams, but for gamers. Mm-hmm. And in Teams, right, you can share your screen.
Oh, okay. I
right?
didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. So you can stream directly from Discord. In fact, one of the linchpins in our success so far has been the fact that the newest generation of consoles allows you to integrate.
Right. They're basically set up specifically so that you can stream easily on them.
Yeah, so I can like pop on my Xbox account on my the newest generation Xbox and stream directly to the Discord under the Alvin Community College History Department platform, and students get to watch that. And then there's a chat, and what'll usually happen is one of us will play, the other one will like be watching the chat and be like, "Hey, Professor B, Azlatar said,"
right?
And we chat and stuff like that.
So Brady, tell me. I know you latched onto this idea. So, Peter, do you have any games that you try to like use in your courses?
Of course, I reference a lot of games in courses just because, like Professor B, I'm also a gamer, but I'm a little older than him. So I started on the Atari.
Right.
So I've been doing it about 15 years longer, I think. So, and what I've found is, in the past, I would just kind of make a reference, passing reference to a game.
Well, it's a cultural thing, just like a movie or a TV show.
And then I have students who kind of like nodding their heads like, "Oh, I've played that game," or "Oh, I do this." And it's funny you mentioned Azlatar, because I think on the first day of class last fall, we had a conversation about the Assassin's Creed games, and that's before you and I had even started discussing the Discord at all. I never really thought about integrating the actual games themselves into the class until maybe last October. Professor B and I were both teaching classes over at Dawson High School, and I was in the classroom right after him. And so I walk in one day, and he's packing up his Xbox. I'm like, what are you doing with the X? Like, I thought you were supposed to be teaching in here. Like, what is this? So he's explaining to me how he was using it to show the class around Boston, pre-Revolutionary War Boston. It's actually not a bad idea. I never really thought to do it that way before. And that's what really sparked the conversation between us and how we could kind of broaden that to our students. But with a lot of the games, you have to kind of go with ones that the students would, if not be familiar with already, but also have some kind of interest in. Because there's a lot of boring games out there. There just are. I mean, it is. And some of the games that I like to play aren't really the kind that we would stream. I do play the Assassin's Creed games, but also play MLB and Madden and the new college football game that came out this summer and stuff. So those obviously we wouldn't really stream with. We kind of we try to stick to more historical themed gaming, because it gives us a chance to, while if John's playing, I can sit there and kind of provide some of the historical background behind what he's doing in the game. And then also give students to kind of join in as well, and they can ask questions in the chat, as we're playing and whatnot.
So like, what games have you been using specifically?
We've done Assassin's Creed Mirage, right? I think that was the first one you did.
Very, very first one is AC Mirage. We've done a little bit of Black Flag.
Sea of Thieves, a lot of that one.
A lot of Sea of Thieves, which is like golden age of piracy. Very cartoonish.
But fun. I mean, it's
so fun. So fun.
It's especially fun watching the number of times that he manages to get his character killed in any given game.
We're finding that the younger crowds are absolutely better. At
a lot
these
better.
games,
a lot better.
Significantly better. In fact, our captain is basically, well, at this point, she is a high school senior, and she's basically telling a bunch of 30-year-olds
having to give us directions on how to actually do what we're attempting to do,
because we're clueless. We're clueless.
Right.
It's honestly it's hilarious. Also, I played the original Oregon Trail.
Right.
I had Professor H as one of my people.
I think I died of cholera.
Yeah,
or
died of
something?
cholera or dysentery. He did not make it.
It was typhoid too.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, well, it happens.
And then we've done other. Oh, this one's gonna sound funny. We play a lot of Roblox. The reason we can get away with Roblox is just a sandbox game where you can put any types of skins on it. Well, a lot of people like to add like World War I, World War II skins or whatever. And also, you can run that game on a potato. And so, like, a lot of students, this is the Achilles heel of the gaming platform for us, is like, we can only play games with students that students can also play, right? And with there being a lot of different consoles out there, honestly, Roblox kind of becomes the one thing that everyone can play.
Because it's any console you can do it with.
So we actually have played that quite a bit, and a lot of people look at me with a weird face when I'm like, yeah, we play Roblox. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, history, fun, engagement, guys. It's not that serious. But everyone that has jumped on has actually had a lot of fun. So it's been great.
Because the whole point really is to get students, kind of engaged in history and the course material in a more kind of a relaxed environment outside of class. It allows us to interact with our students in a way that a little less formal, than what you'd see in a classroom.
So then tell me kind of how you take the gameplay and the history of it, and you relate it to the content that you're trying to get across to them in their classes. Like, where is that bridge at, you think, where because I've played AC3 and AC4. First of all, I mean, is Boston and DC really that accurate as far as how it's laid out as a community, or the way it was, I should say, not necessarily.
The Boston is fairly accurate for what it was like. Because I will say that with the makers of the Assassin's Creed games, they spend a lot of time.
They do their research.
Because they're actually using the blueprints that they made in Unity to help rebuild the Cathedral in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So they're very, very detailed in how they care. Now, not every game company does, but as far as they go, they really care in getting it right.
I will say there's one kind of general idea that I would point out to people that want to like look at Assassin's Creed games as like this really accurate thing. What AC does well is do individual buildings really accurately. The space between individual buildings, obviously is not always going to be accurate. In fact, if you look at AC3, it's a perfect example. All the historical buildings that they have named, they're almost one-to-one. They're almost perfect. But the buildings between them are honestly not so much procedurally generated, but they're just like skins and stuff on blocks, right? And the space between them has to be played with to make a playing environment where players can like run around and not lose their minds about running miles and miles. So space is sometimes played with, but I think they do a really good job on that. Although I will say the newer games, they're just so big because they're newer consoles, the newer console generations.
Well, they have more capabilities.
They have more capabilities. So like the Acropolis, the entire Athenian Acropolis in AC Odyssey is literally 1-to-1. Like it literally every foot you walk in the game is almost exactly like you would see in real life today. Frankly, you know, back in 2011, 2012 when AC3 came out, they couldn't have pulled that off.
Right.
But each of those buildings, absolutely, right? They're fantastic.
And they're always, I mean, it's funny because I remember when the commercials on TV when, you know, AC3 came out, and it was like that was the best you could get in a game, you know, at that point. But now here we are, you know, 12 years later, and they're like everything they come out with is topping it. You know, everything that come out is better than what they had before.
We'd love for more and more people to join in. I know some people just get a little bit nervous, I guess, about joining in, and also some people are a little reticent, right? They're like, oh, wait a minute, playing video games with a professor? Dropping in and dropping out is perfectly fine. We have plenty of people that drop into the halfway through the stream, you know, because sometimes they'll go a few hours and then they'll drop out and stuff, and it's no big deal. And usually we have a little treat at the end of each semester and play a game that's not so historical.
Right, just kind of fun for everyone that made it to the end of a semester to kind of celebrate the end of finals.
We did a Halo night last year, and everyone trashed me, and you know, it was quite fun. So.
And you don't have to be one of our students.
No,
like this is open to anyone with ACC. It's more than welcome.
So how do they like get access to this? I mean, what is the channel that they need to look for?
I guess the best place to go would actually be if you go to ACC's history department page. We have the links there for all of our social medias, including the Discord, and we have a permanent link there. And also, even on all the history professors' doors on campus, we have QR codes now up on our doors as well. So
you can always email us, and we can send you the QR code too.
Yeah, all the history professors know that Professor H and Professor B are running this. So if you just ask one of them.
They can get you in touch with us.
Oh yeah, you will get the information you need.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to talk to me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. To read about these stories and more, visit allencollege.edu/news.